Today we're going to talk about the To Grow coaching model. And the To Grow coaching model is pretty widely used, but it comes in different variations. It was originally called the Grow model, just GROW. And since then, other people have kind of added the two at the beginning to expand it and maybe make it a little bit fuller version of coaching. So we're going to talk through that all today. We do have a worksheet that's available to you. You can download that on our website. You can click on it and actually use it during a coaching session if you'd like. And it's a fill in the blank type thing where you just write down and take notes. All right, let's get started. Okay, the to Grow coaching model starts with T for topic. So the first thing is to have a topic. Find out what it is you're going to talk about. The second is outcome. What do you wish to happen through this coaching meeting? What would you like the outcome to be? And then the third one is goals and vision. So typically goals is what's used, and I added vision in there because I have a slightly different perspective on goals and vision, and I want to talk through that a little bit. Then the next is reality, meaning what's really happening, what's the current situation, what's the circumstance that we're trying to interpret. And then after that is options. So once you understand what reality is and find out how much awareness they have, then you look at the options. Like, what can we do? What are the different options that we can choose from? And then the last is way forward. And that is basically, what are we going to do now? How are we going to get there? So what's the plan? So, all right, so let's start with topic. Determining the topic can help you stay on track. It gives you a point of reference to get back to. Sometimes when you get into a situation where you're coaching somebody or you're sitting down and talking with somebody, even if you have great intentions on trying to get to the meat of something, sometimes you just get lost in conversation. It doesn't mean that conversation is bad. In fact, it's actually really good for rapport to sit down and talk with somebody and connect with them. And maybe even if it's a little bit of small talk, that's not a problem. But if you don't establish your topic of what you want to discuss for that day, it might just stay that way. You may find yourself going down rabbit trails and getting lost and never really getting back to the thing that is most important and the thing that you are there to talk about. And so it's really important to make sure that we have a topic and that you think through it ahead of time the best that you can. If you don't have something specific to talk about, you won't accomplish anything specific. So if the topic is very vague, like customer service, you just want to talk about customer service and you really don't get into the meat of what that means or the specific issue, then you really won't accomplish anything specific. So you really need to pay attention to details and talk about details when you are at this place, a topic. Like, for instance, if you were to ask somebody, hey, what do you want to talk about today? And that person says, hey, I want to talk about our customer service problems. Okay, well, what part of customer service do you think we need to talk about? And maybe there's a couple different areas, but being specific can really help. So as you get into the place where you're asking questions and you really need to find out what that topic is, sometimes the person that we're coaching doesn't really. Sometimes they don't know how to tell you what they want to talk about, or sometimes they just don't know. They're going into it kind of wide open, and other times they may have it right on the edge of their brain and they can't wait to tell you what they want to talk about. One thing that I found that helps is many times when you just ask the question, how are you doing? It leads right into the topic. You may say, hey, how are you doing? And they say, I'm not doing so great. I've got an assistant manager that's acting up and I'm not sure what to do about it. Well, there you go. You've got your topic and you understand what's next. And other times people will just use that for small talk, and it's not necessarily what you need to talk about going forward in the coaching session, but it's just an introduction and just a connection point. And then you need to move on beyond that and to determine that topic. And that could be just as simple as asking a question of what would you like to talk about today, or what would you like to work on today? Sometimes that can be difficult because people don't always know what they want to talk about, and so sometimes it'll take more questions and probing really to get into it. And when you aren't sure what you want to talk about, you might feel like you're just grasping at something just so you can talk about something. I would recommend that stick with some small talk a little bit more, and just ask more questions, general questions that would lead to more specific things like how are the stores doing? How's your staffing doing? How's your training going? How do you feel about this or how do you feel about that? Those can also lead you to a good topic. You may also have suggestions for the topic based on what you can see about them. Maybe as you sit down with somebody, you might say, "Hey, I noticed that you guys really did a great job on shaker boarding the other day, or doing some kind of marketing. Is there any way we can build on that? What's your thoughts on that? How did you do that?" And you can use that as a topic to maybe improve upon whatever that topic is. Or maybe, hey, I noticed you kind of had a bad day yesterday, and is there anything I can do to maybe help you? Or is there something we can talk about today that might be beneficial? So, so it is important to have a topic and try to stick with it, but it's also important to be flexible enough to go with the flow just a bit. If you start getting into one conversation and that's not really the most important one, but you're on that topic, and then something more important or more pressing comes up that you feel that you need to jump ship and move on to another topic. I think it's smart to be wise enough to know when to go ahead and do that, to move into another topic if you need to, if something pops up maybe that you didn't expect, or maybe a bigger issue, more important issue, that type of thing. So be flexible with this, but yet still try to come up with a topic so that you don't get lost. That's kind of important. Any of you guys got lost in a conversation like that before? You sat down to have kind of an important conversation and it just spiraled a bit? Yep. It's easy to do, isn't it? I I think there is an art and a science to coaching. I think if you just stick to a really stringent formula, I think you can really miss the boat on a lot of things, especially from a relational perspective. But then if you're too lax and too relational, I think you can get off track and miss the boat on some things that really probably need to be discussed or talked about, or just an opportunity to encourage or to help somebody. So, all right, let's move on.